Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while questioning the wisdom of post-apocalyptic leather pants? Hey HBs, Sabrina again. Mel is on the mend and good news. We should be back with new content next week. In the meantime, we're headed back to a post-apocalypse that birthed one of our favorite reading embrace categories this year. Today's episode features Claimed by Elle Kennedy, the book that inspired potent post-apocalyptic pussy. Let's get into it.
Hello.
Long time no see.
Too long time no see. Hello.
We've realized, listener, that we're a little codependent now that we have embarked on this recording thing together, this podcast experience. And now we're like, my week is weird because I haven't talked to you.
Yeah. My week is weird because we haven't talked twice this week. Plus a meeting.
Yes.
I would also like a meeting. Thank you so much. So 3 times in one week is best.
Yeah.
For me, Melody.
Yes. Yes. No, I fully agree with that.
Oh my God. So Valor the other day went and got her little pad out and she was doing a shapes test for us, for everybody. You're going to figure out if we know our shapes. And as we were doing this, it morphed into her just asking us to draw things. And I was up first. I did my shapes. I messed up one time so that she could feel good about correcting me.
Okay, that's fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
She was like, Mom, like, that's not a triangle. She's like looking around being like, I don't want you to be embarrassed. Anyway, so then she started asking me to draw things like smiley faces or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is great. Yay, yay, yay. I have to go do the dishes now. So your dad's up next. And Michael was like, all right, Valor, what do you want me to draw? What kind of shape do you want me to draw? And she goes, you're going to draw Elsa.
She's like, all right, Mom, you get the triangles, you get the squares.
Yes.
Dad, I'd like a lifelike, realistic Elsa.
Yeah. I mean, she's coming at us with our art level, you know? Like, if you want a real life dog, you go to Michael. If you want a sideways smiley face, you come to me.
I did not realize that Michael was an artist.
I didn't either for a very long time. The very first time I found out that he was artistic, and there should have been more clues because like his mom's house has a bunch of like the lifestyle drawings that he did in high school or whatever. I just didn't really even think about it. But the first time I found out that he was artistic, he thought that I was being sarcastic and making fun of him because we were doing like a welcome home sign for our friend Tanya, friend of the pod, Tanya. And right at that moment in our lives, she was obsessed with Angry Birds. And so Michael just out of nowhere starts like cutting out shapes and drawing stuff or whatever. And there's just like an angry bird all of a sudden that we can put on the sign. And I was like, Michael, oh my God, that is such a good angry bird. What? I didn't know that you could make an angry bird like that. And it's like so simple to him that he was like, I can't tell if you're making fun of me or not. And I was like, no, I'm completely sincere. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not an artist like that. Like, I can't.
Few and far between for me.
Whenever somebody does an art, I am always like, wow, that is like wildest thing that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway.
so we've got patrons that we get to shout out.
We do.
I'm very stoked about it. Hey.
Me too.
Thank you so much for joining our Patreon. This is so fun.
We've been having a good time over there lately, I feel like.
Yeah. We've started doing
quickies.
Yeah, we've started doing quickies. And then we're also doing the Crescent City recaps every other week so that then you get content related to other books and more books that you've seen on pod or whatever on the other weeks. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. Hey, thanks. Welcome to Erica V and Lori U,
Kaylee TT and Kaylee M,
Lauren and Callum T,
Kate K and Vicky RB,
Shelly G and Anna B,
and then Elizabeth D and Laura C. Hello and
Hi.
welcome.
Hi, we're so
excited
happy to have you
here.
Yeah. Okay. I am so ready to talk about this shockingly horny post-apocalyptic book.
Okay, whoa, but I was not fucking prepared.
I didn't realize it was an erotic romance.
I did not either.
I didn't expect group play, okay?
I did not either, especially group play where one of them is not like a hero.
Yeah.
It's just their friend.
He's just a guest star.
How fan-fucking-tastic is that?
I fucking love it. I do have to say that I have been in mourning a little bit because I went down this Outlaws hole hard, okay? I've listened to this book just about 3 times now. And
damn,
I've listened to the other 2 books in the series as well. So I know everything that happens. And then I did a deep dive online because I was like, she's obviously setting up the brother and this hot smuggler. And like that needs to happen. But these are the 3 books and she doesn't have plans to write anymore. And like, I get it, follow your muse, but also I'm so sad.
So when I finished the book, okay, by the way, listener, book is claimed by Elle Kennedy.
Yeah.
And it's the Outlaws series.
Uh-huh.
And when I finished book, I was like, Dominic has to have a fucking book. So I went to look at the other 2 book synopses. And he doesn't have one.
No.
I was also kind of sad that the MMS ended up not being 2 other people.
Oh, did you want it to be Jamie and Lennox?
Lennox and Jamie.
Yeah. Shockingly, it's better.
I'm not shocked. I also want him to be, I want Rylan to be with everybody, frankly.
Truly. Yeah. Yeah, but he settles down. Anyway, I can do quickies for you on both of those.
Absolutely, because I've put the like full stop on you for some series, and I've realized I can't.
I'm still mad at you about it.
I am Melody. I am so deep in the Omegaverse rabbit hole.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
You should follow your bliss. You should let me talk about my bliss.
But that's okay. And I plan to read them, but what I've realized is, so like I do continue to say you're not allowed to tell me about the rest of the Somewhere in the Middle of Somewhere series because I am in the process of reading.
That's fine. But like, I gotta talk about some Viraxia nonsense.
Yes,
I'm on book I think 7 or 8 of
that's
Elizabeth
fine because guess what? I'm not in
a
alien mood right now, a sci-fi mood, which is honestly shocking and does not often happen to me.
Right.
That's like my fallback when I don't know what I want to read.
Yeah.
But my Swiss cheese memory means that
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not going to remember.
No, absolutely not. Especially when I do like, quickies. Like, I don't do every detail for you. There's still going to be so many surprises.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I think my favorite part of Quickie is I can just really make it so that you can't tell me hardly anything.
Yeah.
Because I can be like, you have 6 minutes.
Oh yeah, listener. The deal with quickies is that whoever's not telling the story gets to put a time limit on the other person. And usually we try to keep it to like 10 minutes, maybe a few more than that. But like, but sometimes bitch gets it done in like 6 or 7 minutes.
Or I need to go the fuck to sleep or go to book club.
Or
and
me
so
too.
I'm like, okay, Mel, you have 7 fucking minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go.
Fantastic. It's so fun. Okay, so
Well,
anyway.
and this arose, real quick though, the whole quickie thing arose because you were going to tell me about
all 3
whatchamacall-
other books in the Ruthless series by Theodora Taylor.
Yes. And then guess what, listener? She was going to tell me about all 3 of them. An hour and like 10 minutes later, she's done with the first book. And she's like, damn it,
And
I
it
really
was
wanted to
like-
tell you.
It wasn't even my favorite one in the series, you know?
I know. And then you were like, oh, dang it, I really wanted to tell you about the second book, though.
And then I
like paused
coerced
and I
her.
looked at the time and I was like, okay, you have, I think it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you finished that and you were like, dang it, but my favorite one is the last book. I really want to tell you about. And I was like, okay, you have 7 fucking minutes, Mel.
I got
Go.
it done.
Did that ghosty
Yeah.
bullshit. So anyway, that's what a quickie is, listener. It's delightful.
They're so
It's pretty
fun. And it really like makes you lock into like what is the most important thing about every book, you know? Like
Yes.
it's I love it. Okay. Anyway, we have to talk about Claimed.
Yes. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Okay, there has been a war that has ravaged the earth, okay? There's like nukes and shit that have gone down and whole populations have been taken out. Now it's outlaw times because they've done a bit like a secular...
A dystopian.
Yeah, a dystopian, but like a secular Handmaid's Tale kind of situation. There's like a global government and they're
Yes.
locking shit
And
down.
In cities, and the population control is very intense. There are people who are breeders. They're the only one. Everybody else gets sterilized.
Yeah, 90% of women are sterilized.
They have a universal income and
No
get this,
medicine.
no health care.
At all. No medicine, period, the end. Not even health care.
Nothing.
No medicine. It's not allowed. Unless you're a part of the council or you're a counselor's kid. But anyway.
So all of these books take place outside of the cities.
Yes. In outlaw country. And in outlaw country, there are 2 types of people. There are outlaws who like just rebel against the government that they don't agree with. But then there are bandits. And bandits are just free-for-all people. They steal from everybody. They've got no code of honor. They just do whatever they want. So we walk in to a bar that actually sounds like the most fun and maybe should be in now times.
Honestly, I want that bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be a morgue. And so they keep all of the booze like where the bodies would go. And it's underneath a defunct hospital because nobody gets to use hospitals anymore. And we've got the whole batch of boys, okay? There's Connor.
Oh my God.
Woo, Connor. He's the alpha. He's the leader of the pack. He's got dark hair and hazel eyes. Everybody's over 6 foot tall.
Oh my God. They're all just smoking hot.
They've got
ripped
weapons
to
out
shreds.
the wazoo. Yeah. Then there's Ryland. Ryland is a southern slut, and we love him. And he's just like slut life for life, you know? I think one of the first lines in the book is Ryland saying, I need to get drunk and laid, and not necessarily in that order. And then there's 3 other guys who are great, but like don't super matter. Pike, Zayden, and Cade. They're all at the bar, and it's like their first opportunity
I
to
gotta
get
say,
shit-faced.
I fucking love Pike and his grouchy, growly, angry. I just love him.
Pike doesn't get a book either. It's okay.
I know.
It's all right, everybody. We're fine.
I want Xander's book. I love a hacker.
I know. Well, and oh my God.
And Cade. Cade and Xander definitely would have ended up in a poly situation.
Oh. Maybe.
What? Maybe. Does one of them die?
Or maybe something terrible happens in book 2. And maybe Melody was actually crying in the fetal position for about 5 minutes.
Oh, great. Okay, well, let's fucking get this shit over with. Then you can give me a quickie. Thank you. All right, let's fucking go.
So they're all there, and it's their first opportunity to get drunk in a while. And then this hot, foxy lady walks in. She's got blonde hair, okay? She's got legs for days, it says. That's a direct quote.
God, Melody, I can't. Spoil it for me, please. For the love of God, I literally cannot focus on this first
Right
book
here on the
without notes.
podcast? Okay,
You
I'll
can
bleep
cut
it out.
it.
I'll bleep it out. And
I am unreasonably distraught right
I
now.
know.
Okay.
I know.
Cool. So back to the hottie in a leather jacket.
Oh, hey, we're back now. Oh, not only leather jacket, my friend, and I really need to talk about this. I'm so sorry. There aren't going to be a lot of like detailed, dives here, but like, what in the post-apocalyptic fuck are you doing in leather pants? What are you doing in leather pants?
You realize that leather is like, I'm sure that leather is very common
No,
post-apocalyptically.
no, leather chaps, okay, but like full on leather pants? You're just gonna swim in your own sweat the whole time.
Not necessarily.
She can't bathe.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
That's
no
true.
bathing ever. Like there's minimal bathing. You gotta be lucky. You gotta have like a sweet setup to have a regular bathing situation. That's not just a lake outside. Good luck finding a lake.
I just
Leather
whimsied the fuck out of
everything?
it.
That like where your vagina is going to. Wow.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a hell of a yeast infection.
I mean, not even necessarily that. It's just gonna be real potent, like it's gonna be a little swampy down there. Like, why would you do that?
That potent post-apocalyptic pussy.
Yeah. Yes, potent post-apocalyptic pussy.
I feel like that needs to be on
That's
the
an
embrace for
embrace
next
thing.
year.
Oh shit.
Not gonna lie, whimsy the shit out of that.
I couldn't whimsy it. I couldn't, and I'm not even usually like a body odor person, unless it's me. And then I'm just constantly worried. But
I mean, Zach, yeah, me too. Same.
Yeah.
Same Z's.
Yeah.
Like the minute I can smell myself, I'm like,
oh no. Yeah. Oh no.
Which, like, to be completely frank,
Yeah.
I live alone. So I'm not going to say that that's not a regular occurrence. You
No,
know what I mean?
Fair. I don't live alone, and that's a regular occurrence. That's just depression.
You're like, I don't. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Love
Anyway,
it.
so she walks into the bar, and Connor realizes that he has never been as instantly turned on by
This
a
man
person.
has the most insane immediate boner.
He's
right
got,
now.
oh, it's just
Like at the very
turgid.
he's half chubbing.
Oh,
Man.
that is an understatement. And to be fair, she has the same reaction to him. She's like, there's 5 hot guys over there, but like that one, though, is very compelling.
But king of the hotties.
Yeah.
King of the fucking hotties. So they're like eyeballing each other back and forth and catching each other's eyes. And then some bandits come rolling up into this bitch.
Yeah, so they do a big old throwdown on these bandits. Some of them die. Others get to run away. They're merciful when they need to be. But what's her name? Hudson is the heroine. And she like hides under a table. I think she gets like pulled down under a table and hides. As she's watching all of this happen, Connor like goes out the door with 3 of the guys. Rylan got wounded in the neck. He like took a graze bullet on the neck. So he's bleeding a bit. And they're going to head back to like wherever they live. And so she books it out the door after them, grabs her duffel bag full of weapons, and is like, take me with you. And it says like they're the desperation laced 4 words, whoa, take me with you.
And he's like, I don't take in strays, and fucks off. And then Cade guilts the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And it's like, absolutely not.
There is one detail I have to talk about before we get to that. So he's like, no, we don't take in strays. And like, she's like, I can help you. I have medical training. And he's like, so do we, lady. Like, it's fine. We don't need you. She's like, I can cook for you. And he's like, oh, come on. And then she's like, I'm even good with weapons. And he's like, I bet. And so then she like lunges on him. She's got him with a knife to the throat. And then he looks at her because then she feels his erection. And he looks her in the
He's
eye.
so fucking horny for this.
Yes. And he says, that's right. I'm so hard right now. What are you going to do about it? And she's like, probably nothing. And then he's like, you could suck me off right here. And like they start going back and forth about that kind of stuff. And then finally he says, either slit my throat or suck my dick. But like either way, we got to get going. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's when I realized, oh, this is going to be a horny book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is going to be like a dirty horny book.
It was hot.
You know?
It was hot.
It's great.
Yeah.
This is like grungy horny. It's
yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So Cade guilt trips him after they leave. And so he does turn around.
Yeah.
Yes. And he does turn around to go grab her. And he's like, you can stay one night, maybe two. And shocker, spoiler listener.
Yeah.
She stays much longer than that.
She stays much longer. In the car, she's like, Rylan, let me look at your wound. And he's like, I'm fine. And she's like, no, let me look at it. And then she realizes she doesn't have any bandages. And so she does just take off her shirt so that she can bandage his neck right up with her shirt. And then she's just bra out.
And I'm like, ma'am, how many shirts do you have that you can just be willy-nilly, like,
how post-apocalyptic are we talking? You know what I mean?
Okay, so, like, I had that question, too, because there is running water. There are generators. You can still get gas and petroleum and stuff like that.
Right? Like, it's tough. There are fewer factories, but, like, they're still making condoms. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
also, like, I'm very curious what the STI situation is in this post-apocalyptic
It's got to be
world.
rampant, right? Because you're not allowed to use antibiotics as a general population.
Yeah. So, like, does anybody have a nose? You know? Or is everybody syphilitic?
Right? No, I know. Like, how is Rylan alive other than antibiotics?
How the fuck is Rylan alive?
Yeah.
Is the most accurate thing I've ever heard in my life. If there's any takeaway that you can get from this book, it is that Rylan is a hot mess.
And that is the biggest
and
impediment between him and the lady who refuses to have sex with him. It's great.
I can't wait for this quickie.
It's great.
So another really important note that we find out in the beginning of this book is that there's a character named Dominic who Mel and I have already squeed about, saying we want his book. But he is the bad guy in this book. So, or starts off as the bad guy.
Yeah.
We'll learn his deep, tragic Sebastian history.
Yeah, Connor wants to kill him dead.
Yeah, because we don't know.
We don't know yet, but yeah.
But turns out Hudson, by the way, that's her name, the lead gal, is his twin sister.
And he's like head enforcer, which is like the soldiers of this time and place. And lately, apparently they've gone like rogue. It used to be that when enforcers encountered outlaws, they would be like, either get in line or you die. Like, you can come to the city with us and be a city person, or we'll kill you. But now they just go into outlaw camps and they're like, it's death from the go.
Murder Leighton.
Yeah. So everybody's really worried about that. And they've noticed that there's been increased activity with Dominic and his soldiers in this area. And so one of the first, like, sort of mini conflicts is, do we leave our super plush, like, used to be a mountain resort, has 24 cabins on the place, can do running water kind of situation? Do we leave to, like, try and get away from Dominic, or do we stay and risk it? And most of them want to stay and risk it.
Which, like, fair.
Totally understandable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they get to the resort, she finds out that they can do baths. And she's like, what? And then Connor's like, you want a bath, don't you? And she's like, more than anything in the whole wide world, I am swimming in these leather pants.
I have post-apocalyptic pussy right now, my friend.
Nobody wants
I need
that.
something. I need something to handle this.
Yeah. So he draws her a bath and he's like, it's ready now. And so she's like, thank you so much. Because he doesn't believe her. He doesn't believe,
Yeah.
like, he doesn't trust her. And so he wants to find out her backstory.
And then he straight up ambushes her while she's fucking naked in the bath to
Uh-huh.
get more information. And like, sir, also, we learn that the outlaws are a bunch of sex fiends. It's a fuckopolis.
If there's no tomorrow, then why not? And that's one of the things, like, he's like, she's telling me that she's an outlaw. She's telling me that her whole group was killed and that's why she's alone and looking for another group. But the fact that she's so uncomfortable being naked around me or like anybody leads me to believe that she's not actually an outlaw who's been living in a group camp for a while, because nobody has any modesty at that
All
point.
I could think though is like, I feel like, so, okay, listener, I don't remember when we find this out exactly, but the reason Connor hates Dominic is because Dominic killed his wife and all of his group. And all I could think was Maggie and her farmer family those are outlaws, and they do not strike me as the type to not be concerned with nudity.
No, I agree with that. But he definitely makes it clear that like Maggie and her whole family are the outliers in this place. And that's why he was attracted to her. So he encountered her and her family. Right now, it's illegal to be religious. You're not supposed to have religion or like care about race or creed. No, there's no more social classes or whatever, because they're trying to make it so like people don't fight anymore. It's the global whatever. Doesn't matter. So anyway, her dad was a preacher and then sort of stayed that way out on their farm, didn't go to a city, and raised Maggie and her sisters to be just as religious and value monogamy and value marriage and all of like the Judeo-Christian principles.
Yeah, that's true.
And when he encountered them, he was like, oh my gosh, like Maggie is just this light of hope and positivity and all the stuff. And like, how can she be so bright and warm in this terrible life?
Mm-hmm.
And at first, he wants that light in his life. But then about a year into their relationship, he realizes that it's not that she finds the brightness in a dark world. It's that she's sort
naive.
she refuses to believe the world is dark. And it's all naivete. So I don't know. Like, I think she's definitely the outlier, but you're totally right. Like, there isn't one kind of outlaw, Connor, you know?
I feel like you don't need to be a Judeo-Christian.
No.
Like some people, what about all of the asexy outlaws, you know? Or like demi outlaws. Like,
absolutely.
But not everybody's going to go just cock first into every situation, Connor.
Especially since Connor is one of the people who doesn't ever go cock first into any situation, allegedly, you know?
Yeah. So he still doesn't trust her, still doesn't believe her, but she does cave and she's like, okay, fine. I came from a city, but she doesn't say anything more than that. And he's like, that's more truthful than you were being. And then they take her on a raid. They had a planned raid, and now they are just letting this stranger come along.
Well, they can't leave her at camp, Sabrina. And when she comes to breakfast, she makes it very clear that she somehow has intel on how the enforcers are like changing up their security protocol.
Yeah, because she says that she met 2 deserters.
And they just randomly told her all of the security protocols of every outpost in the country.
You want to know how she would have gotten that information? It's called magic heroin pussy.
I mean, there is
what
that.
It is.
No, absolutely. And she's got it, you know?
Yeah.
She's got it. But anyway, she's like, there are only 2 dudes and landmines now. And they're like, that changes the game. And we also don't trust you. And so we're taking you with us. And turns out her intel checks out. While they're doing a reconnaissance, though, she keeps on like rubbing her, like she doesn't even realize that she's rubbing up on him like a cat, just like rubbing her tit on his arm. And he's like, you want it bad, don't you? And she's like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. And he just like reaches out and grabs one of those tits and like it says harder than she or anyone else had ever grabbed them. And she's like, I didn't know that attraction could like be so serious it hurts. And
Mhm.
on bath night, I'm so sorry. They had this back and forth where he was like, you want me. And he's like, I could bend you over that table and you would love it. And
This
then
book, y'all,
they
is so
start talking
fucking
about something
horny.
else. I know. And then as he's leaving, she's like, Connor, yes. And he's like, yes. She's like, I would love it if you did that thing you described doing. And it's so funny. So his whole thing is she's obviously sexually inexperienced, but he has to make this distinction in his own head. He's like, but that doesn't make her weak. She can still be tough and like not super sexual before. Like, what? How do
Yeah.
those things have anything to do with each other, Connor?
Well, you see, you get more hit points to your stamina. Like you have more
see.
stamina and things like that. The more times
I
you've
see.
had sex.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I should be a brawler,
Wow,
berserker
I would be
right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yep. I feel that on such a
That's the way
deeply
that
emotional level. I am the party tank.
You
Is what I
are.
am.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh boy. Anyway, so they do this raid.
I feel like I just leveled up.
I know. Just recently. So they do this raid, and afterwards, he takes her to what she calls a whorehouse. I'm still not clear, like, how the commerce of
I have
outlaws
no fucking
works.
idea. Like I was like every single time they talked about like trading favors and stuff like that, I was like, I don't want.
But how food then? You know?
Yeah.
How food? Where?
Yeah, you can call on me at some point in the future in exchange for 3 carrots.
Yeah. And it's great because he's like, yeah, it's all favor system or whatever. And in his head, in his inner monologue, he's like, yeah, Lennox is a really great guy, but, he doesn't call in his favors enough to justify the amount of times me and my guys spend at his establishment with all of his ladies.
Fucking his women and drinking his liquor.
And not just his, he co-owns it with his best friend, who is also a woman. Like, it's very egalitarian.
Jamie.
It's very above board. Everybody has sex because they want to. It's not like,
oh, yeah, no. It's fantastic.
It's not like a pandering situation.
This is the perfect sex work situation.
Yeah, it's an ideal sex work situation, not a trafficking situation. Anyway, but at the same time, I was like, hey, Lennox, he just told you he got back from a run. Like, maybe ask for some of those antibiotics, Like,
keep the syphilis out, my friend.
The favor could absolutely be a few of those supplies, Like, I don't understand. It's fine. It's fine. One of the favors that somebody else asks for is for somebody to drive 3 days somewhere to pick lavender for her.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, don't get me wrong. I get it.
I was just going to say,
I
Mel,
understand.
that is the most you favor I can possibly imagine. I could totally see you becoming the queen of the outlaws and like lording your favors over people, and all of the favors involve. Yes, exactly.
Go get me a foxglove.
You would gain power just so that you could have a garden, right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
no, for sure. Absolutely.
And the funniest part is in this post-apocalyptic situation, it's not a food garden. You would in fact have a flower
It's all flowers. You can eat some of them though. Get off my junk, okay?
I am so excited. So my new lawn person came while I was gone.
Oh, great.
And I have a ton of red clover in my backyard. And so he mowed most of it. But I asked him to leave me a little patch because I'm going to harvest it and use it for stuff.
Hell yeah. Oh, I'm jealous.
So excited.
I love
He's
that.
also keeping an eye out for railroad ties for me to use for my garden beds and stuff like that.
Just make sure to line those. Line them with like plastic or something impermeable, because you don't want any of the chemicals that the railroad ties have been processed with to leach into the soil. So they're really great for raised beds. Just line it.
I'm glad that I mentioned something.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to have a call soon where we just putter around. That's when our fucking weekly meetings is going to start being, is on like a Saturday morning while we're puttering around in our gardens.
I cannot think of a better work or friendship situation, honestly.
Like, we're going to like have no idea what's happening because our computers are far away from us.
Far away.
But we can just hang out and chat.
We'll just do like high level planning, you know?
Yeah, and
real
like
big
plotting.
picture stuff.
Plotting to take over the flower world of post-apocalyptic Pussy Town.
And to be clear, I would have vegetables. I just don't have them right now because I need to build a deer fence. And until I build a deer fence, there's no reason to grow anything that they want to eat. I tried to grow tulips.
Don't you live in a city?
I live in the suburbs. But that just makes the deer more brazen.
You get deer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, those fuckers. I didn't know that hostas were deer candy. Apparently. I don't have hostas anymore.
What is that?
They are beautiful. It's like a perennial bush kind of situation with big leaves, and it's best in the shade, and it flowers a little bit, but mostly you like it for the foliage. And there's a ton of different kinds. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So my tulips I basically have to abandon all of my tulips, and I'm switching to daffodils next year because, FYI, listener, hyacinths and daffodils and allium are all deer resistant. And they have some pink daffodils if you don't want all yellow or white. So check it out, you know? Okay.
Huh.
What?
That's just
Sabrina's
so
just
much
blinking.
information. So
anyway,
they're there. Then we
could do a big voyeurism.
We do, because everybody's just
it's just common room orgy times.
Yeah, and it's hot.
And
it's hot.
He is like, let's get a drink and we'll sit down, and then I'm going to tell me what you see. And she's like, people doing sex.
And what she sees is Rylan making a woman feral crazy with his boner.
Yeah.
And his mouth and his hands.
Because he also has a big girthy dick that has a big old piercing on it.
Piercing.
Post-apocalyptic piercing. That's bravery, you know?
That is bold, especially on your cock.
Yeah. One of those cock piercings.
What if that gets infected?
There are so many questions that I have. Like, don't snag it ever, you know? Like, it's like a whole, you don't have access to medicine, sir. I don't know. Anyway, he's great.
But anyway.
So then they're watching Rylan like suck on her tits, and then he's like, don't look away. She's about to get his cock out. And I've never met a woman who didn't moan at the sight of Rylan's cock. And she's like, it's so hot that he knows so much about Rylan's cock. Oh, no.
This book is so homoerotic.
It's so good. It's so good. So anyway, because she gets so worked up that he's like, don't worry, touch yourself. Yeah, go ahead, touch yourself.
She tells Connor to get her off.
Yeah, she says, no, you do it for me.
And then, listener, he does not.
He refuses.
He tells her to ask him if he wants to fuck her.
Yeah.
And so she does. And he says, yes. And then he says, ask me if I will fuck you. And she says, will you fuck me? And he says, no. And he says, I will fuck you and give you an orgasm when you tell me the truth about where you came from.
Oh my God. And then she comes like a freight train on herself at this table. When he just can't help himself. And so he has to lean over the table and kiss her real good. And of course, that's what tumbles her over the edge of that.
Loads into a
orgasm. She orgasms into his mouth. It's fine. And then afterwards, he's like, all right, well, check please. And he goes and finds another woman and has sex with her in a different room.
I was flabbergasted.
She was so mad. I would be so mad.
I would be so freaking
Fucking
angry.
livid.
I would, oh boy. You know how fast I'd be slamming out that door? I'd be like, y'all having a good time in there, Connor? Huh? What are you fucking doing?
Oh my God.
You still hard? Like, obviously, I would not actually do that because I'm way too conflict avoidant.
Yeah.
But
You would think about it though.
I would think so. So. He'd be able to feel my brain just burning.
So she talks to like a smuggler who's only important later on. And then they head home. And up until this point, she's been on the back of his motorcycle, just like a koala on him. But now he's like, ride home with Rylan. And she's like, I'm so mad at you. And so in the car. Yeah, tell them.
Propositions Rylan and is like, I don't think I've ever lived in the moment and taken like hold of my pleasure before. Will you show me how to live in the moment and take my pleasure? And he's like,
he says, if you really want me to do that, permission. I would love to, but I'm not the person you have to ask. And she's like, what? Like Connor decides where your dick goes? And he's like, yeah, sometimes. And she's like, Connor doesn't own me. And then he looks at her and he's like, we all belong to Connor. And these boys and their loyalty through shocking circumstances,
ways.
You know?
They have the weirdest codependent relationship in that little group.
And I love it because Connor never fucks in the main room because he's the leader and he's like above it or something. And then Rylan fucks anybody, anytime, anywhere, doesn't matter the surface or the situation. Then another guy, Pike, who's a little bit scary, he only likes to watch. And so he just sort of like stands off to the side with his whiskey.
You stoic fucking jerk.
Dirty jerk. Yeah. Then Cade.
I want his blood.
I know. Then Cade and Xander always share women, but they only share with each other and nobody else. And it's hot. Everything about it is incredibly hot.
This book
is and it's like scene after scene after scene. Oh my God.
And different. They're also different. It's not the same thing over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
It's
yeah.
Fantastic.
So when they get home, he's like, I'll do all the unpacking, like you go. And she's like, oh yeah, because you can just have other people to do things for you, right? Absolutely. Bye. And Rylan tells him what she asked. And he's like, oh boy, this chick's going to be a little bit more complicated than I thought she would be. I'll talk to her tomorrow. Except she's sitting on his bed when he gets back to his room. And he says, what do you want? And she says, everything. I want to stay here. I want to contribute to the group. I want to be in your bed.
I want to be free.
Yeah, I want to learn to be free.
And then she does give him some of the truth. Okay, so she tells him that she's escaping an arranged marriage. Her father was an advisor to the council people, which is a lie. He's the one who founded this weird...
He was a council member.
Yeah, but he's also the person who founded this whole thing.
Yeah.
So she doesn't tell him that part, but so she fudges the truth a little bit.
But she says that she worked in the medical unit and she treated enforcers, she treated council members. So like she's got a lot of insider knowledge because of her position and her work. She tells him how she escaped. What?
We find out that her dad let her mom die.
Yeah, of pneumonia.
Instead of giving her fucking medications. You heartless bastard.
She's not allowed to have medications. She is merely the wife of a council member, Sabrina. Okay.
Fuck.
I know. Do you think I have a question, a hypothetical for you? Okay. Because the only people who are allowed medicine are the council members and their children, it says. Do you think that pregnant council members' partners get medical treatment while they are pregnant. I'm
Yes.
guessing they have to have prenatal care, right?
I'm going to guess yes.
But then as soon as that parasite is out of your body, you are no longer allowed to have medicine, to the point that your husband will let you die of pneumonia.
Also, my biggest thing is like, this is where your plants would really come in handy. Let's go
yeah.
back to like
Oh, yeah.
plant therapy.
Like, listen,
and
herbs
herbs
don't fix everything, but they can help a little, you know?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like, you know, you can't do an herb for everything, but some stuff
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
benefit.
So back to it. There's some sexy taunting because she's like, I want you. And he's like, you've already come once tonight.
Yeah, get
Don't
out of
get
here.
greedy.
Ooh, you greedy girl.
Oh.
Yeah. Sabrina's having a moment.
Oh.
So then
I was not prepared. It happens occasionally where Melody just still says something and it's like, oh, okay. Gonna write that one down. Anyway.
So then the next morning, she walks out to see two men doing the sexiest thing they could ever be doing in the whole wide world, okay?
The minute I fucking saw that, listener, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to think to yourself what the sexiest thing that two shirtless men could possibly
To
be
me,
doing.
Melody, in the middle of my obsession.
2, 3.
They're gardening.
They're tilling soil. They're fucking gardening.
They're setting up some new vegetable beds, okay? And like, I will tell them right now, she's like, why don't you have any flowers? And they're like, because you can't eat flowers. But you know what is really great for pest control is companion planting. Everybody should have flowers in their vegetable garden because either two different plants can give each other nutrients or take different kinds of nutrients out of the same soil. Or they're like really good to keep pests away, or like really good for, you know, some other shit. Everybody should have flowers in their vegetable garden.
I'm so grateful to have a plant scientist as a friend.
I'm not a plant scientist.
A plant genius.
If only.
So yeah, they're gardening and she licks some water off of Ryland's chest. And then Connor comes up behind her.
Yeah.
And he tells her to undress that Ryland can lick her back because that's fair play.
And so you dish it out, you take it, Sabrina, okay?
She gets naked
in the garden, just like in the open. It's fantastic.
And Ryland just does a little bit of a licky lick all up on that
drops
cooter.
To his knees and makes her, oh my God, at one point Connor says, put your finger like as far into yourself as you can. And so she like is fumbling because she's like so turned on. Ryland helps her insert her finger into her passage. And then she takes it out. He grabs it and just like noms it down while Ryland goes back to licking her clit.
And then he tells her to tell Ryland what she needs to get off.
Yeah.
And so she's she's like gasping and moaning and telling Ryland what she needs. And then she does get off. And then he tells her to drop to her knees so that she can give Ryland a blowjob.
It's fantastic. She's so into it.
He says, you started all this, but because she gets fussy, she's like, but what about you?
Yeah, so Ryland comes, it's all great, but then he's like, how about we go for lunch?
She's like, why don't you, I want to touch you, I want to get you off. And he says to her, you started all this by licking Rye, remember? Next time, if you want me inside you, I suggest you lick me.
And he's not even like salty about it. He's just like amused.
No. Oh yeah, he's got the boner from hell because this was so hot.
A great
he's
time.
Into it. He this was fun for him.
Yeah.
And then later,
she finds him in that barn.
In that big old barn with all the stuff in the barn.
Yeah.
And they have a combo about how she should Don't try to understand me.
Oh, yeah, I'm not understandable. You should use your energy elsewhere.
She's like, well, Rylan told me that you're not that hard to understand if I just look at you.
If I just try a little bit.
Try and give it a little bit of effort.
And he's like, I'm too enigmatic. There's too many secrets over here.
I'm such a Sebastian.
And also, maybe sit on my face a little bit. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Because
she says that out.
Well, yeah, because she says I need you to get some condoms somehow. And he's like, you're a breeder? She's like, yeah, look at this body, yaddy, yaddy. You know, of course I'm a breeder.
How happy I was that there was not a surprise pregnancy in this
For
book.
sure. Yeah.
Because, like, when we found out that she was a breeder, I was like, oh, God.
Your antenna go up? Mine did.
Yeah. I was like, please no. Please don't do this to me. But, yeah, so they make out, and she asks him, why did you let Rylan touch me? And he says, it's hot.
He's like, you thought it was hot. And she's like, did you think it was hot? And he's like, yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah, I did.
Well, because I think we should explain really quickly. She's coming from a completely different cultural perspective on sex. So when she went to the, like, quote unquote, whorehouse with him, she called it that. And then she was upset that he didn't correct her. But what he says right afterwards is like, she says, oh, is that what you think about women? Like all women are whores. And then he looks at her and he says, everybody's a whore out here. All of us are whores. Mm-hmm. So it's very like, it's a much more sex positive situation than the enforcer camps, because although it's a communist system, they apparently offer like perks and extra money, extra food, vacations, if women want to service the enforcers. But she says that like they get passed around and it feels really degrading and they don't get spoken about very respectfully.
I'll be honest. I'll give a blowjob for an extra week of vacay. You know what I mean? Like, I will give a blowjob for a vacation. That without
that seems fine. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, so anyway, she's like, because they are so sort of sex negative, like they don't talk about it. She's really shocked at how open these people are about talking about their kinks or whatever. And
such a kink positive post-apocalyptic world.
Love it. I love it. Yeah.
It's wonderful. The sex positivity in this world outside of the cities definitely gave me a couple of moments where I was like, man, I want to live in this. And then I was like, no.
Showers,
I like a hot shower.
Yeah.
That's exactly my concern.
Grocery stores. Really helpful.
Yeah.
Like a grocery store, you know?
I do like a grocery store.
Not having to stockpile for winter. Excellent.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Speaking of grocery stores, Mel, I found a new type of rotisserie chicken at one of my other local grocery stores.
A new type? Explain.
It's not really a rotisserie chicken. It's like, they call it like smokehouse chicken. It's an 8-piece bag of stuff. I swear to fucking God, they put crack cocaine in those. There was a solid 2 weeks where I was picking one up from the store every 3 days.
Incredible.
Maybe every other day, if I'm being quite honest. I literally would come home and usually I would eat a piece on the way home from the store. And then I would get home and I would just like, no veg, no fruit, no carb, only meat. Like I just went full fucking carnivore.
Oh my God.
For like 2 weeks. I felt so ill because I eat mostly vegetables in my day to day. Like it was, it's so fucking good. My favorite part about getting home and actually being home for an extended period of time next week is going and getting one of those chickens.
Yee! I love it.
I want it so bad. My mouth is watering just thinking about it right now.
About this new rotisserie chicken, the smokehouse kind.
I fucking love a chicken, man.
I hear that.
And this specific chicken, it's just so juicy. And when you come visit, we're getting a chicken.
I love it.
Like, oh my God, Mel.
What?
The greatest bonding experience I've ever heard of in my entire life.
Okay.
I saw a TikTok of it. There are these two ladies, right? And they set out a tarp and they just put
Tell me
a
more.
chicken,
Okay.
a rotisserie chicken in the middle of that tarp.
Yeah.
And then they go feral and
Yes.
fight each other
What?
over this chicken.
Oh,
But
I
like,
don't know about that.
no, but like fun, loving fighting.
Okay.
Where they're just
Okay.
like, they just go feral and rip this chicken apart with their bare hands and just go to town on it in the middle of this tarp. And
That
then afterwards they
sounds
have
amazing.
like hang out. And all I could think was, can we do this, Mel?
I'm down. I will
'Kay.
fight you for a rotisserie chicken.
We're
I will
gonna
play fight
go
you.
We're gonna go feral on a rotisserie chicken one day.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be it just looked
Glorious.
like the pictures, the video, it was like I don't even remember the specifics. I just remember that I have never felt more seen in my entire life than watching these two people go feral over a rotisserie chicken and just obliterate it with their bare hands
I love
in
it.
shorts and sports bras.
Incredible.
Anyway, we need a motor.
Oh, yeah, we do. So, listen, she is like, if you're going to let me stay, I want everything. Like, I want to be in your bed and blah, blah, blah. And that's sort of what they do. So we go
Mhm.
through a few different events. Like, she cooks everybody dinner. She learns about some of the technology that they have access to because one of the guys is trying to hook up a satellite phone.
Sexy hacker.
Yeah, sexy hacker Xander.
Xander.
And she shows him an app that is still in use by the enforcers that basically just like broadcasts their movements and their orders and their weapons movements and like all the shit.
Literally, they're everything. If you
Yeah.
can get into this app, this is like
You know everything.
child's play.
Yeah. And then like there's different times where like the next day she like keeps on going outside to be like, "Do you need any water? This is my cleavage." "Oh no. Okay, bye." And so he comes in and like corners her and he's like, "Xander, leave." And Xander's like, "Yeah." Like gets up and leaves so that he can just fuck her on that table.
And boy, howdy does he.
Wowza.
He nails her.
It's great.
He pinky toes the hell out of her.
Yeah. What? What?
You've never heard that?
No. What does
Because
that mean?
Your pinky toe gets banged on the table all the time.
Oh, okay. You can bang someone like a pinky toe. I've never
Mhm.
heard it used as the pinky toe doing the banging.
Oh no!
I mean, you said it. I didn't.
I know I did, but I've never thought of it like I've never been literal about it. That sounds. Oh God, why? I was having such a good time, Mel.
I was wondering if you read a different book or something. Like, I didn't see any toe play in this one. Anyway, so at some point, Rylan is in a fight with a wolf, like an ongoing feud with a literal wolf. And she keeps on like fucking up stuff in his cabin because she's mad.
He fed her one time.
And then he won't
and then
feed her
never
anymore.
again.
And she's like, fuck that and fuck you.
She breaks into his cabin to fuck with his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She will, in a group of items that everybody has stuff,
she'll sniff out Rylan's
and obliterate it. It's the funniest thing.
It's great. So like they have to go hunting for that. Well, like Connor has to like talk him off a hunter's ledge so that he doesn't just go like shooting in the woods at night or whatever. And then Rylan comes in and he's a little bit hurt because he was like in a tree looking for this wolf and he fell out of the tree. And
he's such a fucking ding-a-ling. I love him.
I love him so much. He can be my mascot.
Does he stay
anytime.
a ding-a-ling in his book?
Yeah. Yeah, but you get to see like more of him, you know?
He's just a hot dummy.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And like he absolutely stays that way. But you get to see like him be competent too in a lot of different ways, which is lovely.
That's the thing is like he's a hot dummy and he's like all like a ding dong and all of these things and all, but like even in this book you can see his competence.
Yeah.
He boy,
gets it
does he
done.
get it done.
And he gets it done right now because Connor comes in and nursing time turns into sexy time because he's like, hey, Connor, how's your dick? And he's like, here, just hanging out. He's like, get it out. I'm in the mood for an audience. And he Connor likes to be the cruise director.
In charge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always talking about being really good at seeing what other people need to get off and all that kind of thing. And at one point he tells her, because she's like, what's my kink then? And he's like, you haven't figured it out yet? And she's like, no. And he says, you make decisions all the time. You were raised to be a leader. You just want to be able to not think for a while. And so you like
My
it when
God.
I boss you around.
I have
Yikes.
it.
Wow.
Get out of my brain,
Right?
Connor. I need you to take a seat
Mm-hmm.
and just back the fuck off, bud.
Yeah, I didn't know armchair psychologists could be so accurate, Connor.
Connor, how fucking dare you?
Yeah. So anyway, they do another threesome. Oh, I loved this though, because he's having a hard time because he wants to stay emotionally distant from her, but he also doesn't like that she's becoming emotionally close to other people. And so he won't spend the night with her. And ever since he told her he wasn't going to spend the night with her, he's noticed that she's played by his rules completely. But he doesn't really like that she's played by his rules, because that means that she's she comes to him for sex, but then she goes to Rylan for comfort. She goes to Xander for outlaw information. She goes to she goes to her community, but he has made it very clear that he's not going to be part of her community if it doesn't involve nakedness. And now he's having a hard time with that because
he wants everything.
Yeah, and he doesn't quite realize it. So in this scene, that works out by he's going to be near her mouth, okay? And then Rylan is supposed to be fucking her from behind.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't like that Rylan's rubbing her hips and going really slow and taking care of her or whatever. And he's like, Rylan, you need to just fuck her. You were a guest star. This is about me and her, and you're lucky to be here, basically. And he doesn't say that to Rylan, but he's just like, what the fuck is this intimacy between them? I don't like it, But he also doesn't want to give her intimacy.
Yeah, because
he's just a dummy.
Sebastian.
Yeah, he's a Sebastian.
And that's where we're taking a break. We'll be back tomorrow with part 2 of the sex-positive apocalypse. See you tomorrow. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Sabrina Bradley and Melody Carlisle. Editing is done by Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fance, and our art is ultra-talented author Kay Pryor. Like what you hear? Then be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app, drop a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Not only is it the best way to find HBs, but don't forget about that 5-star bribe. For advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomespodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast for exclusive content and to join our lively Discord community. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult.